everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today, I would love to show you how you can easily get your hands on all the data from the official NHL API, from multi-season summaries to even play-by-play logs. For this, we will be using a package called nhlscraper on the programming language R, which is often used for statistical analysis and modeling. I hope this guide and package can serve as an easily accessible entry point for transitioning into hockey analytics or even sports analytics in general, as without data, you obviously can't perform much data science. Even if you have never used R, don't worry, because I will show you all the steps you need from installing R, RStudio, and the R package to even retrieving some data and exporting them to a CSV for further usage outside of R. But before we begin, I would love to give a shout out to a few people. First, thank you to Mr. Lars, my internship advisor at HockeySkytte, for mentoring me through the development of this package and giving me helpful guidance throughout. Second, thank you to the NHL for providing us with this fabulous API. And last but definitely not least, thank you to Maludzinski for documenting the endpoints for the NHL API. Without these people, this project would not have been possible, and I've linked their socials/websites below if you would like to check them out. Now, let's begin by installing R and RStudio to our device. Just a quick note, RStudio is the Integrated Development Environment, otherwise known as IDE, for the R programming language. It's essentially a comprehensive environment for coding, testing, and debugging, all within a single application. So let's head on over to this link right here, which will be in the video description. From there, all we need to do is follow the steps. Let's first install R by selecting the appropriate downloader for a device. Mine is running macOS 15 on Apple Silicon M3 MacBook Pro, so I will select this one. Obviously, make sure to download the appropriate one for your device by checking your version and processors. Now, let's complete the outline steps to finalize the installation to my device. Great, now let's go ahead and install RStudio. This link should be different based on your device, but in case it is not, simply search up install RStudio and your device. Since this is the correct for my device, let's click download. After a few seconds or minutes, we can open the downloader and drag the RStudio application into our directory of applications. Now we can close and clear everything. Okay, let's now open RStudio, which you can do by searching with Command plus Enter on a Mac, or simply browsing through your directory of applications on any device. Before we do anything, let's head on over to Tools, and then Global Options, and make sure our working directory is set to where we would like. If you want to change it, simply click Browse, select or create the desired directory, click Apply, and then click OK. Mine is currently set to the desktop directory, which I'm completely fine with using, so let's just leave it here. We're now ready to create our first R script. Let's call this one Demo. In order to retrieve the data from the NHL API, we will first need to install and load the nhlscraper package, which has all the functions necessary to call the NHL API for specific data. Since this package has officially been approved by CRAN, which acts as the central location for our distributions, documentation, and contributed packages, we'll be able to easily install and load the nhlscraper package without leaving RStudio. All we need to do is install dot packages in quotes NHL scraper. It can be double quotes as well. And then library NHL scraper. Note that when you use it for the very first time, you need to install the package, but from then on, all you need to run is library NHL scraper to load the library. So it's typically a good convention to comment it out after the first time. We can run each line by simply clicking here. Notice if you click on packages and you search up NHL scraper, you will see that it is now installed in your device and it has the check mark. That means it has been loaded for your current session. Now that the package is properly installed and loaded, let's first retrieve the metadata, which are data about the data. Since a lot of the functions rely on IDs, such as player, season, game, and team IDs, we need to know what these valid parameters are. In order to retrieve them, we're going to run a few functions and save them into different variables. So let's go ahead and run these. These are the longest runtime functions, so it may take a few seconds, but simply wait for this stop icon to go away. By the way, if you were curious as to what each of these functions do, you can always look up their help files by doing question mark and then function name. For example, let's zoom in on the getGames function. Here we can see that it returns a tibble, which is basically a data frame where each row represents each game. If you want to actually take a closer look at the all games variable, we can click here and we'll see all the different rows and columns. Now, let's say I want to take a look at a specific player like Mikko Rantanen's game logs. As you can see in this help file, you will need the player ID. We can manually search, or as you learn more about R, you will be able to filter out rows and columns based on what you're looking for. Since we're only looking for one player right now, let's just manually look him up. So we'll go over to all skaters variable, which will have all the skaters from the 1917-18 season all the way to the current season. Now, we can search here, Mikko Rantanen. We can confirm that this row is, in fact, Mikko Rantanen, and we can grab the player ID right here. So let's go ahead and copy that. I want to take a look at this help file and read a little bit more about it. We already got the player ID. Season. Okay, I want to know the season that he just had. So that would be the default argument, so you don't have to input anything for the season because the default for that argument is the current season. And then the game type, I would like to look at his playoff performance. So let's go ahead and test the function here. We can set this equal to get player game log player, whatever we just had copied, and then we'll change the game type to 3 for the playoffs. Okay, let's run this. Now you will notice that in your environment, you have a new variable. This should contain the tibble or the data frame, whichever you want to call it, of all the games that he played during this season's playoffs. Now, if you remember, or I guess I remember as a Colorado fan, Mikko Rantanen went off against Colorado during Game 7, where he had 3 goals and 1 assist to eliminate his former team. Let's grab the play-by-play file for that particular game. For that, I would first need the game ID. So let's grab the game ID for that particular game. Let's come back to our script, and then we can either grab the Game Center or the World Showcase play-by-play data. let's just grab game centers for now. Now you have access to all the events that occurred during this game. For example, you will have access to at what time remaining in what period did this person give away the puck to this person. Something like that. Obviously, they're not limited to giveaways only. You can have access to shots, blocks, so on and so forth. So now I want to save this data frame into a CSV for further usage, maybe displaying it on a plot on a Python package or something along those lines. We can easily do this by simply doing write.csv. The first argument would be the data frame that we're trying to save. And then the second would be the name of the file. So the default source would be the working directory that we set earlier. So let's just call it and then let's go ahead and run this. So then you can just head on over to the working directory, or in my case, basically the home screen of the desktop, and then I will see the file there. By the way, you probably noticed that all the lines that I ran in the script demo.r also got ran in the console. So technically, yes, you can do everything in console, but it's typically a good convention if you want to repeat things over and over again to save it in a script file that you can share to other people. Now, this will be the end of my basic tutorial, but you're more than welcome to check out more functions in this website. If you go over to reference, you will see all kinds of data that you can get access to simply by using these functions. If you want to look at the specifics, simply click on the function, and then you will be able to see what arguments you need to use and what is the return value. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I hope this serves as a easy gateway into hockey analytics, and I can't wait to see what everybody does with the data.